Hello and welcome. My name is David Karofsky with the Family Business Consulting Group. I'm here with my colleague, Rob Sligh, and today we want to talk about the power of peer groups for family businesses. Recently, about a year ago, the Family Business Consulting Group started launching peer groups for different forums, women's forum, a chair forum, and today Rob and I just wanted to have a conversation about how powerful those peer groups have been historically, certainly during times like today, and even what we have in store for the future. So Rob, welcome, and thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. This will be a fun discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rob, tell us a little bit about the chair peer group that you launched last fall.
Yeah, we have 9 chairs of family businesses. 8 of them are family members, and one is a non-family chair of a family business.
Sure.
And they're pretty substantial companies ranging from 30 million to 600 million, and they all have very effective boards. Half of them are fiduciary boards, half are non-fiduciary or advisory boards, and
Okay.
they all have committees and great structures, and they appreciate being with each other as peers to share ideas and experiences.
So I was going to ask, what for these chairs, what are they looking for out of these peer groups? I mean, there's one of the powers of peer groups is connection with each other. But what are some of the things that you've been talking about? And I know we want to respect confidentiality for sure, but at a high level, what are some of the things that you guys are tackling in these peer groups?
Well, first of all, the peer group itself is a safe and confidential environment in which people can feel, really secure in taking their public mask off and saying, hey, this is how it really is. And that's important. Of course, the rules of the game are that what's said in forum, what they hear in forum from others is not shared outside of the group. And so in this safe environment, people can share things. And we've discussed stuff like how do we make our board even more effective? What kind of processes can we go through in the agenda and the discussion phase that will allow us to be more effective? We grappled last fall with how can a board hold our management team accountable but still have that sense of the feeling of support for the management team, which in general is doing a good job. Some great experiences shared around the table on how to do that. In effect, a paradox, but one where you have to do both.
Yeah, and particularly in a family business, that balance between your role of a board, and often you're a family member, not always, but many times the chair might be a family member. But understanding that balance between being a chair, but letting the management team have the freedom and the autonomy to run the company, it can often be a difficult dance. And so I think this is a great opportunity to learn from different peers as to how they're managing that dynamic, as well as many others in terms of running the company as well.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. So with respect to kind of what's going on in today's world and some of the challenges we're having around COVID-19, how has the peer group kind of really shown its power and its value to the chairs today?
Well, what we'd like to do is we like to be in person, of course, like so many of us in so many contexts. And our general format is to get together on at 1:00 on a day. Like last fall, we met in a hotel near Chicago, and then we spend the afternoon together. We have a reception and dinner that night, and then that next morning we meet again and then break up around lunchtime.
Yep.
But this spring we couldn't do it, and so we went to a Zoom meeting format, and we covered things that were COVID-19 related. I mean, we covered how are we protecting our people, how are we preserving cash, and boy, there's a lot of weekly cash flow planning going on right now. How are we making sure that our company is going to be first in line with all the applications filled out for any government funding that may be available? How are we planning to take advantage of the opportunities that the crisis may create for example, acquiring other companies, particularly in our supply chain, new products that take advantage of new opportunities that emerge following the COVID-19 crisis,
Yep.
things like that in effect help with energizing strategies coming out of this.
Yeah, it's funny. You and I have both been involved in peer groups for many years, both personally in our own peer groups and in different flavors, as well as professionally in running peer groups. And I will tell you, one of the most powerful experiences that I have seen personally and heard from my peer group members is that it can be very lonely at the top, and that this is their group. It's almost, I call it their personal board of advisors. And to be able to meet together, but also just to be able to pick up the phone, and that you're going to get that call will be answered or returned, pretty quickly from any of the peer groups if you have a question, any peer member. And so I think it's an incredibly powerful tool for chairs, CEOs, people in family businesses, leaders, whoever it may be that's in these groups. It's an amazing tool when leveraged the right way, I think.
Yeah, and I think the experience of being in a peer group, chairs say, is helping them become better chairs.
Yes.
That collegial feeling, that feeling of let's really be candid with each other, to the extent that it can be transferred to the boardroom, is very healthy for boards.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Rob, certainly COVID-19 is, we will see it pass. It's a question of when, not if. And we all look forward to that day. What's in store for your chair forum going forward?
Well, we talked about trying to get the greatest value out of the board. We talked about maybe in the summer's agenda having some other things to talk about, which can include, for example, how to create a board matrix that aligns the skills that are required on the board in the future and compares that to how people on the board have those skills or don't have those skills. Yep. And it can guide the board to decide, well, we need some new members or we don't need some new members. We need to build skills in a certain area. Also, we're going to talk about this summer board evaluation processes, and this has to do with self-evaluations, evaluation of the board as a whole, evaluation of the chairman, and how things can be improved. And I think there's going to be quite an interesting sharing of experiences in that regard. I'm sure that boards will improve coming out of that.
Yeah, it sounds like a couple of great resources there, and it sounds like the chair forum is going to be a great resource for these members. In addition to the chair forum, the Family Business Consulting Group also has a women's forum that's currently being run, and we are looking at starting some next generation forums as well as current and emerging leaders forums. I think it adds a nice addition to some of the other services that we're doing, and so we're looking forward to kicking those off and getting those going in the coming months. If you're interested in learning more about the Family Business Consulting Group and some of our work, as well as some of the peer groups that we're starting, I encourage you to visit our website at www.thefbcg.com. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, everybody.